Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and we have a sweet one today. So we're playing the deck that I'm pretty sure is the deck you all have requested most. I have gotten so many messages and emails of people saying, you should really play a Conspiracy Unraveler combo deck. Please play a Conspiracy Unraveler combo deck. So today we're going to do it. We are heading to Standard to unravel some conspiracies, and this deck is super sweet. So let's talk about what our Conspiracy Unraveler combo deck's trying to do, jump into some games, see it in action. So our deck starts off with 3 looting effects, cards that let us draw a card and discard a card. In Collector's Vault Modern Age, Kaito Suzuki, these cards are essential to our plan. We really want one in our opening hand because the main goal of our deck is to use these cards to discard something big so we can reenact the crime into play for just 4 mana. We also have Besiege the Mirror, which is really just more copies of Reenact the Crime. Every once in a while we get something else, but most of the time it's sack a Collector's Vault or a Modern Age or a Kaito token or a Treasure token to find Reenact the Crime, so then we can reenact the crime after bargaining Besiege and then get something huge into play. So what are we trying to cheat into play? So we do have Atraxa, although honestly Atraxa is like the boringest and worst finisher in our deck. Sometimes we do reenact it into play just to like draw a bunch of cards and set up for next turn, but the real plan is to use Reenact the Crime to cast Conspiracy Unraveler or Breach the Multiverse. We really want both of these cards. The end goal is to get a Conspiracy Unraveler into play, and then ideally have a Breach the Multiverse in our hand or in our graveyard. So Conspiracy Unraveler, this really unique Sphinx, it's super expensive, but it has a really powerful ability. We can collect Evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells that we cast. I'm sure you know what Breach does. It mills 10, you reanimate from each graveyard. So what we're really trying to set up in this deck isn't just to like, oh, reanimate an Atraxa and beat you down, or reanimate a Conspiracy Unraveler and get a little value. We're trying to set up this weird infinite combo between Conspiracy Unraveler, Breach the Multiverse, and Repository Scob of all things. So Repository Scob, it's a 4-mana 3/3 zombie with exploit. That means we can sack a creature when it comes into play, including itself, which is important to our combo. And then when it exploits, we can return an instant or sorcery card from our graveyard to our hand. So how we win our games with this deck is we get down our Conspiracy Unraveler, probably with Reenact the Crime. We can use Conspiracy Unraveler to breach the multiverse by collecting evidence, which our deck's really good at filling the graveyard with mana values. All of our looting, breach the multiverse, mills a ton of cards. Our cards are really expensive, so we free breach the multiverse. That mills 10 more cards and mills our opponent. We reanimate one of our opponent's things. We hopefully will find a Repository Scob. We reanimate that with breach the multiverse. When Scob enters the battlefield, we exploit it to itself. So we sack the Scob and get back to breach the multiverse. And then because we just milled 10 cards to breach, we should have at least 10 million value of cards in the graveyard to use Conspiracy Unraveler to cast breach again and start the loop over. So now we breach the multiverse, reanimate one of your things, reanimate one of our things, which is a Scab, which we exploit to itself to get back the breach to cast for free with its Conspiracy Unraveler. And the end result of this is we just keep doing this again and again and again until we mill both players' decks. We're going to be empty libraried. Our opponent's going to be empty libraried. The thing is, it's our turn. So once we cast breach like 5 times or something and no one has any cards, we just pass the turn. Our opponent draws for their turn on an empty library and loses the game. So we don't even really have to attack with this deck to win. It's really a pure combo deck. This weird graveyard reanimation Repository Scob loop combo deck. So that's what we're trying to do. Otherwise, go for the throat for removal, push pull removal and backup reanimation. Mana base, pretty typical standard stuff, except we get a bunch of surveillance because they're good at filling the graveyard. In the sideboard, some sweepers for aggro, deep cavern duress for control decks, Besiege you for artifacts and enchantments, and License Hearse if we run into another graveyard deck. And that is Conspiracy Unraveler combo. And that's our deck for today. And I will warn you now, this deck is super sweet. So let's get into it, see Conspiracy Unraveler combo in action. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. We've got new tokens and playmats, and you can even get the tokens signed if you want. Check them all out over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. We're going to fix the internet today. We're going to put an end to all these conspiracy theories. The earth is round. We landed on the moon. Aliens don't exist. Actually, that one's not true. Aliens, I think, probably do exist. But anyway, yeah. We're infinitely milling with Conspiracy Unraveler. Oh, no. Are we up against... Oh, Light up the night. Interesting. I was thinking it was Boros, but you usually don't have light up the night. It's got to be some sort of bigger deck if you're playing that. Boros mid-range, maybe? We'll keep the Take Numa, just to have an extra land. Our hand's pretty good. Like, we have Reenact the Crime. We have Kaido to loot away what we want.
You'll never see me come.
I think we just pitched the Scab here. The question's going to be, now that our opponent has blue mana, do we go for it? I feel like they're actually Jeskai Control now. Light up the night plus blue mana. It's got to be Jeskai Control. Let's see what we loot into. Atraxa? Let's just discard an Atraxa. Do we spend our Reenact the Crime? I kind of... Let's wait. We can wait and we can channel Take Numa. I think the odds of a... Oh, Quick Study? Okay, so opponent's definitely a control deck. Odds of counters... Oops. Thinking. I mean, grab a leg. The odds of a counter is pretty high. So the challenge is going to be, how do we play around a counter? In this deck, we'd like... Wow. Brotherhood End to hit Kaido for 2? Wow, that's a freebie. Okay, well, maybe we don't have to be worried about a counter. Now I'm pretty sure we win. So, take up Kaido. I mean, we should win, right?
Now this.
We get to pitch the breach. We get to reenact the breach. I guess we can surveil first to go a little more in the graveyard. Wow. Brotherhood End just to deal 3 damage to Kaido and tap down? Well, Breach the Multiverse should not have cast that Brotherhood End. Are they... Oh, oh no! Who plays Spell Pierce? Oh my god. Okay, well played, I guess, opponent. I take it all back. Well, I still don't know about Brotherhood ending Kaido for 3, but they did have an answer. Oh, it's a Quintorius deck. All right, opponent's gonna discover a March of Otherworldly Light. Okay. Well, now we're actually kind of in an awkward position. Let's play the Surveil land. Well, yeah, let's Surveil. See if we can hit something big. No, just to go for the throw. Well, loot with Kaido. Discard a go for the... Well, let's discard an Atraxa, actually. We can't actually cast Atraxa. There's a way if we make enough treasures we can. I guess we just beseech to grab a... Breach the Multiverse. Which we're getting pretty close to hard casting. Maybe next turn, definitely in 2 turns. About it. Quintorius gone. And... main phase Impulse. Probably looking for a land if you're main phasing this. Spell Pierce is good against us. I was not expecting that in the main though. Land. I'm glad to see Quintorius. I really like Quintorius. And it's like, so far we've seen it be a combo card, especially in like Pioneer, but I think Quintorius is good enough to be a fair card. Like it's doable, right? I think it's possible.
I've been watching your moves.
Wow, opponent really struggled with that Kaido. Light up the night, but they didn't cast it for a lethal amount. Oh, I think they were expecting to get more damage out of it. Does Light Up the Night not work on Planeswalkers? Oh, it does. They just miscalculated. They needed to tap 1 more land. Control is a tricky matchup. Counters are good against us, and our opponent even has Spell Pierce. It's kind of a tricky deck to sideboard too much with. Keep that in mind if you decide to pick up the deck. Like, it's hard to sideboard too much just because we need all of our combo pieces. So I think against Control, we're pretty much looking for the discard spells in. We can trim the Go for the Throats pretty easily. And then I guess we trim just like maybe a Beseech the Mirror, maybe 1 reanimation spell, run it like that. So now we can hopefully clear the way for our combo with a Duress or a Bat. All right, opponent, you're on the play. We'll keep this. A bunch of lands in a Collector's Vault and a Reenact the Crime. Actually a good hand for this deck. I guess 1 land being a finisher would be even better, but the most important thing with this deck that I've learned is you really, really want a Collector's Vault or the Looting Saga or a Kaido, like some early game way to just start looting. That's probably the most important thing to this deck, because then you'll loot into the rest of the pieces. Opponent makes a land. Well, there's our finisher. Conspiracy Unraveler. Well, let's just play the... I don't think we're going to jam the Collector's Vault into the open mana anyway. So let's just play the Surveil land, pass the turn. Also worth mentioning, Reenact the Crime is an instant. We almost always cast it as a sorcery because we can't combo at instant speed with like Breach the Multiverse. But it is worth keeping in mind that we can like get down a Collector's Vault, wait till our opponent taps down, loot, and then collect or reenact the crime to reanimate something. Well, Surveil Land. Definitely keeping the bat. We're still going to play this Collector's Vault slowly. Next turn, we can bat into Collector's Vault. Malevolent Hermit. Well, that doesn't stop the bat. It does stop the Collector's Vault. All right, so opponent's going to no more lies the bat. Well, that lets us get down the Collector's Vault. That's a win. Pretty fine with trading the bat for the counter. We were probably going to take that anyway, honestly. Now we got to play around this Hermit, though. Opponent hits us down to 18. Well, more vaults. Let's play the land, play vault number 2, and let the looting begin. Oh, we have everything we need. Wandering Emperor, so opponent's clock is increasing. We have everything we need to combo off. We just need to find a way to get around this Hermit and whatever is in our opponent's hand. Wouldn't mind finding a duress or another bat, some way to do a hand check. We probably have, what, 3-ish turns before we die? Opponent gets and hits us. Down to 13. Sure. Well, let's loot. Discard a land. And yeah, I guess we might as well loot again. Leaves us in the same position, but a fuller graveyard. Loot. Discard a land. Ooh, there's a bat. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, we can do everything. All right, play the bat. We still have this Hermit problem. That's our biggest issue right now. Oh god, that is a stacked hand. So all of those things can kill the bat. None of those things stop our combo, but the Hermit does. Light Up the Night kills the bat most efficiently. So I think we got to take the Light Up the Night. If our opponent wants to kill the bat, they're going to have to Farewell and get rid of their Hermit, or Chandra and spend their turn and be tapped down, and that might just let us combo off next turn. We are on a clock though. Like, that's the other thing. We're taking what? 6 this turn, so we're actually dead next turn. This Hermit's been really good. Hermit's annoying. It gets around all of our duresses and bats. Down to 7. We will loot. I guess just the Surveil Land. I mean, we can build up some mana here, which is nice. If our opponent wants to Farewell artifacts, I guess they can. Opponent's just gonna pass. Hold up the Atwara. Our opponent's tech is actually super good. So the problem we have now is they have this Atwara. So if we go to reenact the crime, the Conspiracy Unraveler, they can just Atwara it. Now let's loot. Pitch the Conspiracy Unraveler. Yeah, I mean, we just gotta hope they misplay, basically, I think. Well, I guess we can duress first. Just make sure there's not another counter. We can still pay for the Hermit. We basically need our opponent to punt. We need our opponent to activate the Hermit so they can't Atwara and answer our Conspiracy Unraveler. So we're basically trying to bait out. This is bad in so many ways. Let's play the bat. The other problem we have here is Atwara is just straight up lethal, right? Because the Atwara can bounce the bat. So we gotta hope our opponent doesn't do that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was any way we could actually get around that Atwara. Yeah, our opponent had just enough layers of protection. Between the Atwara and the Hermit, they had just enough taxing effects. Maybe we should have just, I mean, I guess we probably still played that wrong. I think our opponent was playing it correctly with holding up the Atwara, but it probably would have been better, I guess, just to reenact the crime and see what happens. The problem is we don't have Breach the Multiverse in hand, right? So if we get back the Conspiracy Unraveler, then we need to cast Besiege to find, cast Besiege. We need to cast the Tutor to find Breach. And that would give our opponent a window to interact with it. This hand I like. I like that we have 2 discard spells. So we can make sure our opponent's hand is not going to be a problem. We'll just get down the saga, the modern age. Ooh, there's a Breach. Between Breach and Besiege, we have a lot of tongue-twistery key pieces in this deck. Can you Breach or Besiege? Ooh, Kaido. And even more Kaidos. Well, discard a Kaido. Play the Surveil Land. Keep the Tiknuma. Let's play a Modern Age. If our opponent counters it, we're pretty fine with that. That's a counter out of our opponent's hand. All right, well, negate down. So now our plan is to just kind of develop our mana and set things up so we can cast our discard spells Hermit. Well, now we need to make our opponent sack the Hermit. I think we cast the Duress without playing a land to try to get them to use the Hermit on it. I think this is worth it. I think Duress trading with Hermit's better than Duress trading with a card in hand if they activate. All right, so opponent is going to activate. Well, now we can play the land, and I think we just get down Kaido and start the looting.
Fools, I can do anything.
Yeah, pitch the breach. We gotta hold on to the bat, I think. Bat's too valuable to let go here. Because our opponent, if they use their Hermit to counter a Duress, they gotta have some strong non-creature spelling in. Opponent, land, passes. Well, there's lane number 5. I don't think we're comboing this turn, so we might as well attack first and just draw a card with Kaido. Yeah, draw with Kaido. Ooh, there's a Conspiracy Unraveler. I mean, we're to the point where we're just a couple of lands away from just hard casting everything. I think we get the bat down. We can pay for a No More Lies. Get some information on what our opponent's working with. All right, Wandering Emperor, and makes it 2/2. Is this the exact same hand as when we dressed last game? Oh no, they have card draw instead of the burn spell, but close. Chandra and Farewell. So opponent has 4 mana. They have a tap land, so they technically can't cast the 6-drop, although they will be able to. Yeah, let's take the Chandra. I think taking the Chandra is better. Like, Chandra can just come down and snipe Kaido in the bat. Farewell can't get the Kaido at least. We really want to keep a discard outlet on the battlefield just in case we do. If we like top deck or reenact the crime or whatever, we can just pop off. We know our opponent did not have a counter last turn, so the stage is set for the combo if we can find the reenact the crime. But we are on a clock in a weird way though. They have the Wrath and they have a Chandra for after the Wrath. That's fine. Well, let's draw a reenact the crime. That'd be pretty sweet. Besiege the Mirror would also work too. All right, opponent, just gonna Wrath the Geist. That's a Besiege the Mirror. Okay. Oh, this should work. Because we have an enchantment, which is the Saga. We have a decent amount of mana value in the graveyard. So we can loot with Kaido. Discard, we can discard Conspiracy Unraveler, right? We have enough mana value. Yeah, so we can discard the Conspiracy Unraveler. Opponent's tapped down. This is the time. Sack the enchantment, get reenact the crime. Reenact the crime, get the Conspiracy Unraveler. And we have the Breach the Multiverse in hand. So now, I mean, this should be pretty good. Assuming we have the Scob, we just win. And that's the Scob. GG. Take a Wandering Emperor, might as well. Breach the Multiverse. Scob comes in, exploits itself to get back the Breach. We milled enough mana value, so now we just do this until our opponent runs out of cards, and that's the combo kill. It took a little longer than usual this game, because our opponent, actually a control deck with a ton of disruption, but we don't want to exile everything. The one trick of this deck, and it's like not that important, but you do want to try to exile exactly 10 or as close to that as you can to save your mana values. Get back this Scab, and opponent sees what's happening, scoops it up, and apparently we can beat a control deck. Sweet, sweet, sweet. We are unraveling a conspiracy today. So many people said I gotta try Conspiracy Unraveler combo, and we're trying to go infinite-ish with Conspiracy Unraveler and Standard today. This hand looks pretty good because we have a Collector's Vault, and that can loot us into these Besieges, which can get Reenact the Crime, which wins, or we just draw Reenact the Crime. Well, let's do some looting. Discard the Scab. We'd rather have that in the graveyard anyway. Opponent grew. Boy, come on, land. Land, please. Yeah, let's just discard a Besiege. I mean, we're doing it the hard way. The slow and hard way. Opponent plays a land. Ooh, Case of Locked House. Spicy. So opponent's definitely still not a land. My goodness. Magic gods. All right, we're gonna have to do this all with 2 lands apparently. Yeah, let's Kaido. Let's Kaido and keep looting. This does cost us all of our treasures, but sooner or later, thank goodness, sooner or later we gotta hit a land. We'll discard a Besiege. We probably don't need triple Besiege. All right, so how close are we to winning now? Dark Slick Shores. Boy, these lands are coming off the deck in the worst order. I mean, we got to keep it, but it is going to be tapped. Hopefully our opponent doesn't play like a Gishath or something. That would be... All right, Nissa. If that blows up the Collector's Vault, is kind of annoying. All right, opponent just makes a 6/6. So we do have a go for the throw. They salve the case of the locked hothouse. The most serious of all cases. Who locked the hothouse? Well, loot with Kaido. Find more tap lands. So we can't go off this turn. We'll discard the Kaido. I mean, I think our plan now, play the Surveil land, mill the Collector's Vault. So I think our plan here is pass the turn, save the Kaido with a go for the throw, and then Kaido loot, reenact the crime, breach, win. Opponent goes with the Kaido. Well, we will kill it. Odds of us winning here are probably pretty good. Let's see if our opponent has anything. Gruul seems like a tough color combination. I do not know how. I guess they could have Graveyard Hate, but opponent's going to blow up the Collector's Vault. But we have the Kaido, so that's fine. Gruul seems like the worst color for interacting with what we're doing. I think we would have won like many turns ago had we not been stuck on 2 lands for so long. Opponent, another Cavern. Fires up Restless Ridge post-combat. Well, we will. Loot with Kaido. And it is party time. Ooh, Conspiracy Unraveler. Let's discard that and reanimate that with Reenact the Crime. With double breach in hand, this should just be game. And opponent, yeah, not even going to wait around. Well, had some land troubles, but in the end, our opponent just didn't do much. I don't even know if we change anything. Yeah, I think we just run it back. Probably the card. So how do we lose this matchup? Opponent gets a fast draw, runs us over. Could happen. Tranquil Frillback is a dinosaur that exiles the graveyard. That could be an issue. Otherwise, Gruul is a color combination I'm probably scared of least, honestly. This hand's sketchy. I think we mulligan. Well, this we're going to keep. We are on the draw. We do need to hit a land. Should we hit a land, this hand has literally everything we need to win the game. Opponent tap land, and all right. Well, that's pretty good. Swamp off the top. So now we can get the Collector Vault down on 2. Intrepid Paleontologist. Well, get down the Collector's Vault. Yo. So now we can loot, start making treasures. Fill in the graveyard, case of the locked hothouse. I want to build a deck around that card. It seems like a fun value engine. Ooh, do we just Kaido then? Maybe we just Kaido. Now we gotta think. So we loot and do nothing, or we Kaido. Yeah, let's just Kaido. Kaido loot. We really just need one more land. Let's discard Conspiracy Unraveler. If we're gonna reanimate something, it'll probably be Breach to get Conspiracy Unraveler and fill the graveyard. Opponent. Polini's Hatcher. Well, opponent has a clock, but we are potentially pretty close to combo killing here. Opponent hits us. Down to 17. We draw an Atraxa. Well, land. Oh, Adwara. Okay, that's perfect. Well, now we do the thing. Discard the Breach, play the land, reenact the crime, and I think this is just turn 4 combo kill. Breach, mill. We will take a Conspiracy Unraveler and I guess a Carnosaur. Carnosaur spins into... Ooh, Beseech the Mirror. Okay, Beseech we can bargain to get another Reenact the Crime and reanimate something? Last Reenact the Crime, and opponent not even going to wait, and yeah... That's pretty good. This deck is pretty good. We didn't get to see the full combo because our opponent scooped, but turn 4 kill. This is the deck that so many people sent me messages and like, you gotta play Conspiracy Unraveler. So we're finally doing it. And I think this deck is kind of ridiculous. Do we keep Underground River? So if you haven't seen this deck, it's essentially a combo deck in Standard, which is actually like kind of rare in and of itself. But our goal is really simple. Fill the graveyard, reenact the crime Conspiracy Unraveler, and then from there, we essentially just combo off and mill our opponent out and win the game by looping Breach the Multiverse. Opponent, Restless Cottage. Well, let's start treasuring. Discard a... Well... Let's discard an Atraxa. Because Conspiracy Unraveler cares specifically about collecting evidence. Getting high mana value stuff in our graveyard has a lot of value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to untap land here, and we can breach. Well, that's not an untap land. We will discard the Troxa. Untap land. We could kill this Sheoldred. We're gonna wait though, because untap land is just so game over. Ooh, reenact the crime. Okay, that is also probably game over. So Collector's Vault. Discard, breach the multiverse. Get a little got by Sheoldred. Might as well play the sewers and do a little surveilling. Scob we definitely want in the graveyard. It's gonna be close. Reenact the crime for breach the multiverse. Cast it. Let's see what we find. So from our opponent's graveyard, we get a Deep Cavern Bat. From our graveyard, so if we take Conspiracy Unraveler, do we just have to take a Troxa here? Probably. We don't have a breach in hand, so we can't combo. Yeah, let's just take a Troxa for now. That's one of the nice things about this deck, is if we don't win right away, we can usually set up to win the following turn. So we'll take the go for the throw. A Troxa finds us. Push, pull. Reenact the crime. Shipwreck Marsh. And Modern Age. And we will discard Modern Age. Well, so our opponent can cut down the Deep Cavern Bat to get the go for the throw, to kill the Atraxa, to hit us with Sheoldred. At this point, I'm not sure any of that really matters, though, because now we have this push-pull, and this push-pull should just really, really do it. We didn't quite get lethal last game. Opponent, tap land, hits us. Yeah, Sheoldred's not going to be enough, so we'll draw, we'll get Drained. We draw Beseech. So now what we can do is we can push pull. Actually, let's play the land. So we can pull to get back Conspiracy, Unraveler, and Scab. Scab will sack itself to get back a Breach the Multiverse. And now we are functionally infinite. So we breach the multiverse, exiling kind of whatever. That gets back the Scab and whatever, and we just keep doing this until our opponent mills out. This deck is so... Play Graveyard Hate. Play Graveyard Hate in Standard. That is the lesson here. I guess we'll take a Sheoldred. It doesn't really matter. We should just literally win the game right now. So the Scab can attack itself to get back the Breach of the Multiverse. The Breach mills enough stuff that we have the fuel for the Conspiracy Unraveler, so we breach the Multiverse, exiling a Kaido into Beseech the Mirrors. Mill a bunch of cards, and yeah, this deck's so ridiculous. I've been racking my brain. Why is this not like the most busted best deck in Standard? And maybe it is, and people just don't realize it yet. I guess that's possible. So get back some random stuff. Graveyard Trespasser will exile something. We're kind of just going through the motions because we literally just win right now. So we sack the Scab. 9 cards, opponent has 18, so we have to do this 2 more times. Get back the Breach. And cast the Breach for free. Exile a Breach and a Kaido. Mill everyone for 10. Opponent's down to 8 cards. Get back the Scab one more time from our opponent's graveyard. We'll take a Glizza. Doesn't really matter. And last but not least, we will sack the Scab to get the Breach to Multiverse. And that will empty our opponent's library, and that'll be the win. Breach, exile, 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 and exile. And that's what makes this deck so ridiculous. So now we go on to game 2. And the question's going to be... we don't even want Gix. How about a Ren? Ren's cute. All right, and your go, opponent. Don't even need to attack, and GG. We have to sacrifice the Conspiracy Unraveler, but it has done its job. No cards in the deck. And, I mean, it's essentially like an infinite mill combo, really. So now this is where things become interesting. As you can see, our deck really depends on the graveyard. What this means is, if our opponent has Graveyard Hate, things can go bad. That's the best way to beat this deck. And this combined with like Aftermath Analysis, Splendid Reclamation decks, this is why you really should be playing Graveyard Hate in Standard. We have a couple of Graveyard Hate spells in our sideboard. I almost wonder if 2's enough. I almost want 3 Graveyard Hate spells, because I feel like these Graveyard combo decks, there's plenty of answers to that. The thing is, most people just don't play them. What are we worried about against this deck? They have Graveyard Trespassers. They could have like Tranquil Frillbacks. They could have Hearses even. It is kind of nice that we can potentially combo all in one turn, which does let us beat some Graveyard Hate. Although, like I said, we need 10 mana value for Conspiracy Unraveler. So if you just stick a Hearse on turn 2 and exile, it can be hard. Like, even if we can do the thing and like reenact the crime, the Conspiracy Unraveler, we might not have enough juice left in the graveyard to actually finish the combo. I don't think we change much though. I think we go down like a push-pull, maybe a Beseech the Mirror, maybe one Kaido. The question is, do we want bats or duresses? That's the question. Let's go bats. So the reason for bats, I think, over duress is I expect our opponent's Graveyard Hate is creature-based, like Tranquil Frillbacks or Graveyard Trespasser type stuff. So I think we're more likely to... I'm not sure duress will do it, basically. I'm not sure duress will hit the Graveyard Hate. We do have a Conspiracy Unraveler. I like that we have a removal spell, although I bet we're getting duress this game. Do we keep this? I think it's fine. We really like to have a looting effect in hand, but yeah, you know what? Let's just play it. There's a Modern Age. That's pretty good. I don't think we want to Modern Age this turn, though. All right, there's a bat. They probably have to take the go for the throat, or else we just kill it. So we want to get the timing of the Modern Age so we get to loot on a turn when we can reenact the crime. So I think we wait one more turn. Although right now, like, all we're really getting is a... Yeah, they take the go for the throat. I'll play the Schwamp past the turn. All we're really getting is a Conspiracy Unraveler with no graveyard. A 6/6 is fine. In that case, though, we'd rather have an Atraxa, really. Opponent going to duress the reenact the crime. Yeah, I mean, this is another common hate tactic from opponents, is just overload on all the discard you can bring in, which is like sort of effective, but really Graveyard Hate is that's a big one. Opponent gets and hits us. Did they not have land number 3? Did they? Okay, there it is. Another forest. And a Mosswood Red Knight, getting that clock going. Well, now we're going to Modern Age. Start digging for something. There's a Beseech. I mean, this could let us Conspiracy Unraveler next turn. Oh, it can't. We don't have enough. Yeah. Well, actually, we can. Sentinels. The question is it worth it? We really want to find Atraxa. Atraxa to loot in the graveyard would be the best. Or a Breach. Breach would be even better. Those are the 2 big hits. Opponent hits us down to 15. Island. Loot. Is it even worth it? So we discard the Conspiracy Unraveler. Sack this to Beseech, reenact the crime, and then nothing? I mean, I guess that's better than literally nothing. All right, I guess we gotta do it. So discard the Conspiracy Unraveler, play the Shipwreck Marsh, bargain the Beseech, sack the Modern Age. I mean, it's gotta just be you reenact the crime, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess we just do it. So it's definitely not game ending because we have nothing to cast. We've run a lot of... I mean, we kept a land heavy hand to start, but we do get a Conspiracy Unraveler. Which, even when it's not doing anything, at least it's a 6/6 that can block for a bit. Opponent could have removal. We have enough mana value to cast one thing. We just don't have one thing to cast at the moment. Opponent, gonna crack the map. Finds a duress. Ooh, they keep it. Interesting. I don't know if a duress is very good here. I mean, I guess they don't know that we've drawn only lands. Opponent attacks. Makes a map. Well, we're gonna block the Sentinel. Drop to 11. Come on, big drop. Breach off the top. Breach off the top. Oh my goodness, Atraxa off the top. That counts. Atraxa. Exile 10 mana value. Yeah, that's a good draw. That's a very good draw. We'll take a Breach and a land and a go for the throat and a Collector's Vault. Wait, 1, 2, loot. Yeah, we can't do it this turn. And a Collector's Vault and a Atraxa. So play Collector's Vault. Play the Maze. Mill the Scab. You know what? Let's not even attack. We're just going to stay on defense. I think we're set up to combo off next turn. Our opponent does have this duress, but I don't think that's enough. Yeah, we're just going to let this go. I think they have to take the Breach. They have to, yeah. Opponent takes the Breach. But we still have a lot of pig flyers. And our opponent only has a forest. Yeah, this game is probably over. Ooh, Assassin's Trophy. Okay, that's actually a removal spell. Opponent's gonna fight the good fight. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. Well, let's loot with the vault. Oh, wow, that is dirty. Oh, maybe we just top deck breach number 2. I almost feel bad about that, but not really. Let's cast a breach for mana. And this should just be the combo kill now. Mill a bunch of cards. We already got the scab in the graveyard, so get this scab. From our opponent's graveyard, we'll take a sentinel. And now we do the thing. We get a map, we sack the scab, and we win the game. This deck's so ridiculous. Sack the scab, get back the breach. Cast the breach, get back the scab. Mill 10 every time. Exile. Opponent has, what, 37 cards. So we gotta do this 4 more times to win the game. Which, I don't know if it's actually possible. Like, it's one of those things where, yes, it's, like, theoretically possible that we could fizzle. But in practice, it would take some incredibly bad luck to fizzle from this point. The way we could fizzle is by just not milling enough mana value of stuff to keep casting Breach. But it's, like, so unlikely that that actually will happen in practice. Because we have so many high mana value cards in the deck. So, Breach, mill a bunch of cards. You are dead, opponent. You don't have to sit through this. You can just concede. That is perfectly legal. I guess opponents stick it out hoping. Hoping that it's not actually infinite, but it kind of actually is. Scab 'em. Get back a Breach the Multiverse. And cast the Breach the Multiverse. Exiling an Atraxa Collector. Well, Atraxa and a Kaido. 17 cards. So one more after this. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the game. So get back the scab. From our opponent's graveyard, we'll take a... really doesn't matter. Another sentinel. I mean, the game is just over. And then exploit the scab, make another map. And that's the power of this deck. Like, once you get things set up, you just do this and you win. And it's basically... I don't want to say impossible to stop, but it is very difficult to stop once the combo loop is set up. Exile. And this should be the last one. And opponent gives us the GGs. We'll take a Conspiracy Unraveler and a Ren. And that was a pretty good turn. We're not even activate our stuff. Whatever. Your go, opponent. Your go. Would you like to draw a card for your turn? Oh, you know what beats this? It's not the graveyard hate. It's not the discard. Living Conundrum. If you stick a Living Conundrum, we probably can't win because then you don't die to milling out. Could you imagine if that's the world we end up in with that Living Conundrum being an actual hate card for for this deck? Oh, I want to keep this, but it's, oh boy, we got a mulligan. Too risky. Well, all right. This one we're going to keep, although we really need a looting effect. Really. Well, all right, let's see what happens. I mean, once we get to 7 mana, gonna do a little breaching. But for now, this hand's not doing much anything. See what our opponent's up to. Well, all right, Atraxa. That's broken glass, isn't it? I never realized there was broken glass in this battlefield. What do you got? Schwamp. And passes. Wow, okay. Oh, this is clunky. Yeah, okay, this is not going exactly the way we hoped. Right now, our opponent might be thinking we're a control deck. Up the beanstalk. Draws a card. Oh, God. Oh, have we drawn a 7-drop every turn? We have more 7-drops than lands. Oh, this is the worst draw ever. Maybe we should have just kept that 1-lander. But I'm not going to cycle a Triome. Okay, I am not feeling confident now. Oh my goodness. Opponent's gonna cycle Ravines Tower. We'll discard, I guess, a Beseech the Mirror. Our best bet's probably to draw land. Oh god, Top Hero Stomper. I mean, our best bet's definitely to draw land. There might be a way we can reenact the crime off discarding the hand size. Well, okay, there's a tap land. Oh, it doesn't actually work though, does it? That doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do this. Opponent gets an It's Us. Down to 6. Yeah, there's no window. 2 more lands and we made it to 7 mana. Bounty gets and hits us. What is our opponent's hand? Why are they not killing us? Is it just a handful of removal? I'm like 99% sure this doesn't work. So we go to our end of turn, because there's no window to... They cycle a Jetmir's Gardens. There's no window to do anything after we go to the cleanup step, right? Bonet cycles a Rafine's Tower. So we're gonna discard a Troxa. Yeah. Yeah, there's no phase that we get to actually do something at the end. Well, this is one way with this deck can lose, I guess. Bounty hits us to 8. We draw a swamp. Yeah, I mean, I guess we pass the turn? Odds of our opponent having a counter or something seem pretty high. Gets and hits us. I mean, there's still a window where we get back into this if we draw an untap land. Oh, just kidding. All right. Yep. I think we went through that entire game without casting a spell, which is kind of amazing. Duress is in. That draw, my God. We drew literally everything in here and nothing down here. Yeah, really, the most important thing for this deck, like, we're gonna find a payoff, right, eventually. The most important thing is having one of these, like, early game looting effects to get things going and just kind of smooth things out, and that's what we just did not find. So we'll bring in the Duresses. We discarded enough to hand size that our opponent probably knows what's up. I could see Beseju's being worth it. We have to Beseju off a treasure. Yeah, let's just hope they don't have. I could see this deck playing Unlicensed Source in the sideboard. I think it's a possibility against Domain. Really though, we can't do worse than last game. It's not possible for. Okay, there we go. That's a more functional hand. Let's just Undercity Source, and we have so many lands now we can mill them. Mill a swamp. Opponent plays a tap land. Well, we will Hedge Maze. Mill in a Troxa. The Modern Age is at its best on turn 3. Well, okay. There goes our Modern Age. Well, I take the Breach. Interesting. Undercity Sewers. Surveil. Gotta keep the Reenact the Crime. Modern Age. Loot. Discard a Shipwreck Marsh. All right. Well, now we just need to draw something big. If we can draw something big, we get to Reenact the Crime. Our opponent's tapped out. Breach would be great. That is a Breach. Well, let's discard the Breach and play the Shipwreck Marsh, Reenact the Crime, the Breach. And let the fun begin. Mill a bunch of cards. Wow. A Troxa from our opponent's yard. Conspiracy Unraveler from ours. And I mean, this should do it, right? And opponent... Yeah, okay, that went a little better. This deck is so silly. It's kind of ridiculous just how strong it is. I've been like blown away at just how strong this deck is. Let's go up a little bit more discard. Hopefully we don't make it too inconsistent. Let's go 6 discard or 5 discard. Run it like that. Oh, Conspiracy Unraveler. I mean, it kind of worked out exactly how we talked in spoiler season, right? When it was spoiled. Yeah, we're gonna mulligan this. I think the feeling was, at least my feeling was, the card's really good as a combo piece, but probably not gonna make it as a fair card. And that's almost exactly where it landed. Let's Darkslake Shores and Duress. Herd Migration, Soul Guide Lantern. We'll take the Soul Guide Lantern. That could get annoying. Opponent plays Plains and passes. Well, Swamp and Collector's Vault. So we got the Breach. We need to find a way to cast it from our graveyard. Opponent gonna do some topiary stomping. Well, let's Collector's Vault loot. Conspiracy Unraveler. Play the land and play the Modern Age. Keep on looting. Discard 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's just discard. Let's discard the Modern Age. We'll keep the second vault. So now we need to find a Reenact the Crime, basically. Opponent passes. We draw Scab, which we can loot away. Conspiracy Unraveler. Well, play the land. Should we be worried about Farewell? Is that a thing that could happen? Now let's loot. Discard the Sewers. Play the second vault. Pass turn. Don't fare well, this opponent. That would be annoying of you. Leyline Binding. Going after... Alright, one of the Collector's Vaults, sure. And Herd Migration to get a land. I mean, in 2 turns we're going to be able to Herd Migration. We know that. Passes. We draw land. Flip the Saga. Keep on looting. Oh, let's reenact the crime. We have enough mana value in the graveyard. I mean, we got to go for it, right? We have to. So discard... I mean, they could have a counter. I think we still have to go for it. So discard the Conspiracy Unraveler. Play the land, reenact the crime on Conspiracy Unraveler. Do you have a counter? No. All right, so we get the Conspiracy Unraveler. And now we breach. Exiling 10 mana value. Do you have a counter for breach? No. All right, so get a scab. And opponent scoops it up. And this deck is like, it's silly. Let me pull up my untapped GG, because the stats on this deck are absolutely ridiculously wild. Like, seriously, it feels like cheating. It feels like cheating. I know, like, people just don't play enough graveyard hate. It's like so easy. What is the record with this deck? Let's look at the record, because I think it's kind of off the charts. 14-1. It is a straight shot up. Yeah, what was our loss to? We lost to a Mardu deck at some point, apparently. Yeah, I mean, this deck it's silly. It's silly. It's like, ugh, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about this deck. It's just that wild. I find it enjoyable to play, and it's like, so it's not a completely, like, unknown deck. If you go to the metagame page, you will be able to find Conspiracy. I think it's under Demir Reanimator. But, like, it's super fringe, right? Like, it's at, like, 1% of the meta. It's not like seeing heavy play or breaking the format, and I just don't really understand, because to me this deck feels absolutely over the top, ridiculous. Like, it should be way up here somewhere, I think, like in the Boros Convoke Esper, like, top tier, because it just absolutely crushes people. But yeah, this deck's wild. It is wild. We are unraveling some more conspiracies. Comboing off with this ridiculous deck. My goodness. Oh, this deck is so good. Ooh, I think we gotta keep this. We're really leaning on this Surveil land to get land number 2 for the Collector's Vault. Well, there's land number 2. All right, so we're gonna hit our lands. Another Collector's Vault. That's gonna go graveyard. All right, opponent. What are you up to? Schwamp. And Spyglass Siren. Wouldn't mind an untap land here. That would actually be the best. Untap land lets us just play the Collector's Vault. Or a Scab. Alright. Well, this might be bad. If our opponent can play a Gix or something here, we might just get snowballed. Opponent Island. Well, no Gix at least. Just another Siren. That's fine. Opponent cracks the map on the Siren. Yeah, this is looking kind of wow, they mill it. Okay, that's, I guess, good news. Opponent hits us. Can we draw land here, please? Please, please, please? No. 7-drop. Our deck is very good at finding 7-drops when we need land sometimes. That is kind of a thing that, look at this hand. My God. Well, oh, they got another Shielder. That makes more sense. Yeah, we might be dead this time. Just too slow. We find an Undercity Sewer. We drop to 11, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, dead. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're actually just dead on board. Opponent got off to a quick little start on the draw there. Maybe just bring in the bats. Go up the bats. Go down the push-pull. Go down the beseech. And maybe one more beseech and just run it like that. The deck does have, if you look at the curve, it does have a pretty expensive curve. So occasionally you will have slow games. That's a thing that'll happen. We get to play first. Yeah, I don't think we can keep this one. Not a Surveil land. All right, well, this will keep. We're gonna hit our lands, right? We're gonna hit our lands. We got Undercity Sewers. Yeah, all right, let's put a land to the bottom. Undercity Sewers. Mill the Collector's Vault. Because we milled a Collector's Vault, our opponent probably has some idea what we're up to. Land and Collector's Vault, go. Now we're off to a much better start. We can start making treasures. We can start filling our graveyard. We'll stop on our opponent's upkeep. We'll play the sewers. I think we keep the beseech. We're gonna loot on our opponent's upkeep because of Tishana's Tidebinder. Discard Collector's Vault number 2. We're actually pretty close. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, do we just get to do... Oh, do we get to do the thing? 1, 2, loot. So if we loot, we play the land. I mean, I think we get to do it. So we loot. Discard Beseech the Multiverse. Make a treasure. Beseech the Mirror. Bargain. Off the Collector's Vault. Reenact the crime. To breach the multiverse, which hopefully finds us some goodies. From our opponent's deck, we can take a... Let's take Liliana. And from our graveyard, we probably just take Atraxa this time. Get the Atraxa to refuel. Take a Kaido. A Tignuma. Go for the Throat Modern Age Bat. And then Liliana, get rid of the Gix, discard a land. Well, okay, we have a lot of action. So we didn't combo off and just straight up win the game. Turn for Atraxa, and our hand is loaded with interaction. So our opponent needs to deal with the Atraxa. Liliana's actually pretty good in our deck because it's an... Wow, they're going to bounce it. Okay, sure. I mean, I guess that is a solution. Let's Deep Cavern Bat. Let's do a little hand check, see what we're dealing with. Cut down Shieldred, Shieldred's Restoration. So take the cut down. Shieldred's Restoration, 4 mana, return a creature from your graveyard. So I get a Shieldred. Take up Liliana. Discard a Modern Age. Discards a Shieldred. Well, let's play another bat. Take the Restoration. Play Tignuma. Pass the turn. I mean, we can just reanimate the Atraxa. Is it actually worth it? Found it. Blitzes. If they attack the Liliana, I think we do block. Because we kind of want this to discard the Atraxa. Yeah, let's just block. Then get back the Restoration. They draw a card. Well, I mean, we could just draw a Conspiracy Theorist. We could just mill a Conspiracy Theorist. Let's play the Surveil land. Just an island. Mill it. Take up Lily. Discard Atraxa. And we're just going to do it again. Sooner or later, we will find the combo pieces. Reenact the crime on Atraxa. Refuel a little bit. So we will take Breach and Underground River and reenact the crime, Modern Age, Atraxa. And I guess we might as well get in with the bat. Atraxa. Okay, opponent. So they can reanimate, but only from their graveyard. And there's nothing in their graveyard that is actually relevant. Like, they can get a Shieldred, but that even Shieldred is not relevant at this point. When we do our thing, it's just way more powerful than other... I mean, what was that? Turn 4 Atraxa, turn 6 Atraxa? Even, like, Domain's not doing that. Reenact the crime is a heck of a drug. This card's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Liliana, sure. Okay, so we'll sack the bat. Can't cut down in Atraxa. Opponent passes. Well, let's start by ticking up our Liliana. Discard a Hedge Maze. Play the land. Are we just going for it? We get a Conspiracy Theorist. Yeah, I think we do. So, breach the multiverse? Oh boy. Okay. So, we will take a Conspiracy Theorist, and from our opponent's graveyard, I guess the Shieldred's fine. Take a Shieldred. Now, with Conspiracy Theorist, we can reenact the crime. The breach the multiverse, and then the combo is on. That went much better than game one. Game 1 was one of the worst games I've seen with this deck. That game went pretty well, though. Do we want to change anything else? I guess push-pull is also removal. Maybe we keep the push-pull. Maybe we keep the push-pull and go down what? A Kaido? Let's go down one Kaido. Let's run it like that. On to game 3. Can we take down the Dimir deck? I feel like the toughest matchups for this deck, outside of just Graveyard Hate's really good, I feel like Control is the toughest. But then, I mean, we beat Control usually too, but you actually have to work for it more. Decks that are not playing the interaction, you just kind of face roll them. All right. This hand is interesting if undisrupted. We also need one more land, really. About it, Swamp. Well, there's the land. So we're going to play a Deep Cavern Bat. We want to play the Modern Age on turn 3. All right, opponent's going to kill the bat, sure, but we get a look. All right, that's fine. We want to play the Modern Age on turn 3, so we can loot off it on turn 4. Oh, opponent doesn't have blue mana. They play a Liliana, sure. We will discard a Conspiracy Unraveler. This isn't even really bad for us. So we still do need one more land. We're going to have a bunch of draws at it, but we need one more land. We'll discard Conspiracy Unraveler. Opponent discards Liliana number 2. Well, play Modern Age. Loot. Go for the throat. Discard, go for the throat. Well, okay. We get 2 draws next turn to hit an untap land to do the thing. If we whiff, then we're kind of in a sad spot. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it would be annoying. All right, opponent finds a Duress, which is actually a really good draw. Well, actually, it's not that good of a draw because we have 2 Reenact the Crimes because of Besiege. They take the Reenact the Crime. All right, show us that land. Show us that land. Opponent's going to take up with the Liliana. Well, this is pretty much the turn where either we're going to win the game or our opponent's going to ultimate Liliana on us and it's going to be bad. This is where a Surveil land would make us really sad. Oh, Surveil land. Liliana's at what, 5? Yeah, we're getting got by this Surveil land. So we'll discard the Modern Age, play the Sewers, mill the Go for the throat. Yeah, I think our opponent might have it now, unfortunately. I think they might have it, because now we have to discard the Breach. Yeah, that tap land was brutal. Brutal. This is actually, okay, this is a huge Surveil. If we Surveil something good, just an island. Do we keep the island? So opponent gets to ultimate Liliana. They still have to win from there, and they have kind of picked their own hand apart quite a bit. Is there anything we can beseech for that's worthwhile? Well, the Surveil lands are very powerful, but you can get punished by them. Like, if we drew a normal land last turn, we would have just won. I mean, I guess we keep the island. Bargain the Besiege. I don't know what we're getting. Let's just take a Kaido, I guess. Take a Kaido, play the Kaido. Make a 1/1. Phase it out. All right, well, does our opponent just ultimate the Liliana? If they do, it's not really the end of the world. Okay, they tick down the Liliana, interesting. Draws a land, we draw even more Go for the throats. Well, take up Kaido. Discard a Go for the throat. Play the Underground River, pass the turn. We have discarded pretty much all of our removal. Blitz is Tenacious Underdog. Found it. Hits the Kaido. Wow, doesn't take up the Lily. All right, sure. Draws a card. Well, there's a Swamp. I mean, this means that we have a breach amount of mana should we draw it. Found it. Mirix. Kaido. All right, how about a breach off the top, Magic Gods? Reward us for that clunky draw earlier. We still have 2 breaches left. Phases out. Well, I mean, we'll play the Modern Age. Loot away a land. Pass the turn. Oh, there's the blue mana. That's pretty bad. That means our opponent cannot leave up a counter. That is pretty disappointing. Opponent hits us. Down to 18. Loots. Take Numas. Oh, there's Make Disappear, so they do have counters in their deck. I mean, we're just running out of time, right? We are fully running out of time. And they could just have a counter in hand, and then we're pretty much dead. Atraxa. And a land. Well, play the land. I mean, the Undercity Sewers is correct in the deck, but boy, it does lead to some bad beat stories. It really does. I mean, I guess we also got a little unlucky that game where we had, what, 4 draws to hit an untap land because of our draw steps in the Modern Age, and we just couldn't do it. Ended up with the Undercity Sewers as only land. Opponent draws a card. At this point, I feel like it's very unlikely that we win. I feel like our opponent should, at this point, have a counter for... Oh, God. Yeah, I think our opponent pretty much has us just hard locked here. Even should we find a breach, the odds of our opponent having interaction by this point are incredibly high. Opponent, Fairy Mastermind. Untaps. Oh, disappointing. Opponent takes it down. Sure.
Off you go.
Well, maybe we got to settle with going, what, 14-2. Ah, the disappointing 90% win rate. Opponent hits us. I mean, honestly, I'm glad that this game happened, because I think it shows that the deck on occasion can beat itself. I still don't think any of the other decks in Standard actually beat this deck consistently. There is a downside to playing... Oh, God. There is a downside to playing, 9/7 drops or whatever. There is a cost. There is a cost. And the cost is like game 1, we just got super mana screwed. Game 2, easy free roll win. Game 3, couldn't hit the lands. And that looks like lethal. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, not quite. That looks like lethal. Wow. Well, still the best deck in Standard, I think. Play your graveyard hate, or else be punished by this ridiculous deck. On occasion, I guess let's do a little wrap up. On occasion, you will lose to yourself. That is a thing that'll happen. The good news is that's the thing that happens pretty infrequently based on our ridiculous record with this deck. So, I gotta say, and we've talked about this throughout our games, I feel like this is actually like, at the moment, because people are so greedy and don't play Graveyard Hate, I feel like this is like a sleeper pick for literal best deck in Standard. Like, I was blown away. So many people, I swear, like, this was the deck people wanted me to play the most. I have different versions of it. So many people, Conspiracy Unraveler. You gotta play the Conspiracy Unraveler combo. You gotta try it. I got so many messages about it. So, you know what? If everyone wants to see it, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try and see how it goes. And the deck blew me away. Honestly, it's way better than I ever would have expected. I thought, it's going to be like kind of cool. We'll probably do the big like mill combo sometimes, but it probably isn't very good. But it turns out you do the mill combo a lot of times. The deck is like the standard show and tell almost. It's really standard reanimator, but if you're an arena player and you're used to like Timeless and like what show and tell offers with this just like huge explosive combo turn really early in the game, this is about as close as you get to that play style in Standard. Yes, it can be soft to Graveyard Hate, but apparently no one believes in Graveyard Hate in Standard because they're too busy fighting like Boros or whatever, so they're just not playing Graveyard Hate in their sideboards, and this deck just absolutely punishes people. So really, if you're looking for something below the radar to play in Standard, I think this deck is great. Like, it's really fun to play. Probably not as much fun to play against because it seems very difficult to stop, but it's really fun to play. You get to do these big splashy things. There's some cool like intricacies of like trying to set things up, trying to play around your opponent's counters. So it's not really like just some mindless, as Krim would say, face roll deck. Like, yes, there are games where you just literally can't be beat and your opponent can't interact with what you're doing and you're just like do like Conspiracy Unraveler, breach you a bunch of times. That does happen, but that's not how all the games are. So I would definitely recommend this deck. If you're looking for something below the radar in Standard that's actually incredibly powerful and really fun, I think this is a really good option for Standard right now as we wait for Outlaws of Thunder Junction to release. So anyway, that is Conspiracy Unraveler, literally unraveling Standard. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.